Welcome back to the DDD Sports Podcast. As always, joined here with DC and Dante.
What's up?
What's up?
This time we are over Zoom. College, our first semester's done, so we're all on 3 different time zones across the country. So going through a Zoom call, hopefully the audio is as good as it was up there. Hopefully we don't have a whole lot of problems. Yep. Today we're diving into the NBA this time. Now that football's taking a break, the playoffs are underway. They started yesterday with a couple of games. We're going to go through the MVP of who we believe the MVP of the season is, and then talking about who's coming out of each of the playoffs. So hopefully we all agree. We'll see. Diving right into it. Going into the MVP conversation. DC, who do you think your MVP is?
That one's tough, but I got to go Steph Curry. I do. That man carried that team.
Wardell.
It's if you're talking about most valuable, the Warriors went without Curry last year, were terrible. With him back, they had a chance. As far as most valuable goes, he's got to show up.
Win percentage matters. Team win percentage matters. His team did not get past the play-in games. That matters.
Okay, well, if we're going to say win percentage matters, then I'm going to go with my boy Donovan Mitchell in Utah. They had the best record.
Oh, you can't do that. You can't look. You can't be the MVP of a league, though, and your team gets out in the play-in games. And
they did it with Russell Westbrook.
No, it's a regular season award. It's not a playoff award. If it was a
I know it
award,
is. I know it is. They would have been the equivalent of the 8th seed. I don't know. You look at people carrying teams. Jokic is the MVP because he's also carried his team. There's been injuries on his team to Jamal Murray,
I do give you that.
PJ Dozier, and Will Barton. He carried them into the number 3 seed in the West. And even though he doesn't have the scoring title that Curry does have, he's averaging 26 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, 8.3 assists per game as a center. Easily the best center in the NBA. Now, I think they're going to end up giving it to Curry because it's a player.
Yeah, if we're talking about who's going to get it, it's going to be Curry.
I bet it'll be Curry. It's a player league. They want to feed their superstars. I don't know. I don't know how you look at this year. You don't think Jokic. Jokic deserves it this year.
I don't know. At the same respect, how do you look at this year and not consider Chris Paul?
That is
Look
true.
at the Suns before him and after him. And we spent all year looking at, he went from crap teams and then like the Thunder. No one thought they were going to make the playoffs last year. He shows up and they do. The Suns, irrelevant. He shows up and they're number 2 in the West.
Yeah.
But the reason why Chris Paul won't win it, bro, because Chris Paul, he's always going to average, he's always going to push almost 10 assists a year. But Chris Paul doesn't average 20 a game. If Chris Paul averaged 20 a game and got and still was getting the same assist numbers he has been getting, he would be the MVP of the league. But people try to say no. Like Chris Paul, everywhere he goes, he turns him into a playoff contender. It's because of his leadership skills. And people try to push a narrative in Houston like it wasn't working. Maybe it wasn't working because of James Harden. Has everyone ever thought to think of that? So Chris Paul is a great leader. And this man, if we're going to be real about it, like DC said, it really should be Chris Paul. But who I think who's going to win MVP, Steph Curry is my favorite player ever. But I'm going to agree with Dylan Hall on this one. I do think Jokic is going to win.
You think Jokic?
Yeah. Dude, with Jamal Murray, they did not skip a beat when Jamal Murray got hurt.
They played better. Their win percentage is better.
Yeah, I think they even played better when Jamal Murray was after Jamal Murray went down. Dude averaged, let's say the numbers again. He's averaging 20 and 10 and then 8 assists.
26 points per game. Let me pull them back up. It's 26.4 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, 8.3 assists per game. So
as a big man, every time you average 20 and 10, that's always you. That shows the true mark of a good big man. But when you put in 8 assists, that is like that is insane, especially for a center.
Separates Jokic from the Joel Embiid argument. That's the difference between those two. Embiid should be considered, but I think Jokic's playmaking puts him above Embiid in this race.
Okay, that's fair. I thought you were talking about who's the better player. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true.
Embiid looked like the favorite at the start of the year, but Jokic has just had a stronger season.
Right?
But then,
I don't know.
But then, and you could make a sense that Embiid carries the Sixers because of Ben Simmons' inability to shoot and put up major points. But that's another topic for another day, though.
Over the last 24 regular season games, Steph Curry averaged 36.9 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 5 assists. That man is the only reason the Warriors weren't taking that first pick this upcoming
That is fair.
year.
I give you that. That is really
He
true.
came back. Clay wasn't there like everyone thought. The rookie wasn't working as well as everyone thought, and came in and carried that to the play-in games.
I think for James,
And if it wasn't for a magical LeBron James 3, they would still be there.
I don't know about that. The
Triple.
Grizzlies beat them pretty
I was
handedly.
seeing triple.
I know
Yeah,
that game went to overtime, but the Grizzlies let that game go to overtime. There
No,
was a period
no.
in the third where the Grizzlies could have really pulled away.
But they didn't, though. Whose fault is that? That's the Grizzlies' fault.
That is the Grizzlies' fault.
You know who I blame for the Warriors losing this game?
Who?
Anyone have any guesses?
Who do you blame?
Who's to blame?
Draymond Green. I've been telling people Draymond Green. I have a one friend back home. He hates Draymond Green for some reason. I think it's because he was giving him some buckets on 2K or something like that. But he thinks Draymond Green is a trash player. This man, Draymond Green, before overtime, had a wide open mid-range jump shot. Wide open, no one around him. All he had to do was just shoot it. And if he missed it, he missed it. You know, this man decides to go take a floater like he's Curry or like Mike Conley, and this dude misses it. And I'm like, Draymond, you had a wide open mid-range shot. If you miss it, no one's gonna get mad because we know you're not that good of a shooter. But come on, man. I blame Draymond Green. And Curry, and the other thing is too, and my dad was saying something about this. He thinks that Steve Curry is an overrated coach because how Curry, Dylan Brooks was harassing Curry that whole game. They didn't give him enough screens. My dad thought like to run him off of Dylan Brooks and make him tired and stuff like that. And I think Steve Curry has been a product of having Hall of Fame players around him since the beginning of his coaching career. He had Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond
And his
Green.
playing career, too.
And in his playing career, I give you that.
He was a great role player on that team.
A great role player on the Spurs teams, the Bull teams, but then you get KD a few years into your coaching career. Yeah, you don't even have to make major adjustments. You just gotta like encourage them, but you know what I mean,
Right.
or drop plays every once in a while.
Yeah, you just get to let them slide right in. So to reiterate, me and Dante believe Jokic is the regular season MVP for the NBA. DC, you believe Curry is.
I believe Curry. I think without Curry, they're the worst team in the West. And I think that matters. Yes. Let's talk about the Timberwolves for a second. How can you have that much talent on that team and be the worst
Thank you.
team?
I was about to say that. Like, I don't understand how you have Karl Anthony Towns, which is like top five center, top 3 center.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't name other than Jokic and Embiid. I can't name any centers that are better than him.
Yeah.
Bam
Adebayo.
I'll put Bam Adebayo over him.
I'd argue Rudy's better as far as usage.
No,
That's just because big man. Nah, dude. Cat is the Russell Westbrook of big man. He's just a stats patter. Cat, in my opinion, is a more athletic.
Rudy Gobert. The Jazz should have never paid Rudy Gobert a max contract. Now you literally could have found another big man that just played good defense for like $10 million a year instead of paying them $20 million a year.
Yeah. Because almost 3 blocks, almost 14 rebounds, and almost 15 points on a team with guys that can average 20 points a night.
You're not going to win. Okay.
He doesn't need scoring. Jordan Clarkson puts up 19. Donovan puts up 27. Conley puts up 18. Bogey could do 20 a night. Ingles could do 20 a night. Then why do you need him to score? You have a bunch of three-point shooters. Put them down low and let them get 14 rebounds a night.
But that is true. But can find
their last couple games.
Okay,
their last game
I say
against the
this.
Kings, 16 rebounds. Against the Thunder, 18. Against the Trailblazers, 20.
I say this. You could have found a big man that does something like that, like an Ivanka Zubac, so you could pay them like $15 million a year, and then you get another role person to fill that team to have a more complete roster. But I do think
Bam Adebayo doesn't even get 10 rebounds a game.
But Bam Adebayo can score.
He puts up 18.7 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 block a game. Rudy
He can score.
Yeah, okay. He scores 4 more points a game than Rudy. Rudy puts up 4 more rebounds and 2 more blocks a game.
That's fair. I still would rather have Bam.
And you just said Bam was better than Cat.
Bam is better than Cat.
I'm just saying, don't disrespect my boy Rudy. Stifle Tower, baby.
Okay, so top 5. Karl Anthony Towns is a top 5.
Yeah.
Center. D'Angelo Russell is a good offensive threat in this league.
Exactly.
And then you have Anthony Edwards. I don't understand how you are still one of the worst teams in the league. It makes absolutely sense. It makes absolutely no sense. I think you got to blame coaching at this point or something. Or
it's got to be coaching.
They got a new coach coming in.
Yeah, it has to be coaching. I mean, but think about it though. They had Tom Thibodeau, and they couldn't make it work with Tom Thibodeau. Maybe it's something in the Minnesota air.
That was a completely different setup, though, because remember, they had Jimmy Butler at the time, and Butler wasn't fitting in with that system.
They still couldn't make it. They still couldn't make it work, though. No, he didn't. No, it's not that he didn't fit in the system because he had Tom Thibodeau in Chicago. What it was that Karl Anthony Towns and my boy, I think they need to trade him. Andrew Wiggins, he thought they were soft and that they didn't earn their money yet because they have both got like, you know how after your rookie deal you get like a big contract from your team, whatever, you stay for like another 4 years or so. He said that they both were soft and stuff like that. That's when he blew up in practice. It wasn't that because he didn't fit with that system. It's just that he was just mad with how soft Karl Anthony Towns was. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's something in that Minnesota air. Maybe Karl Anthony Towns was going to play with Devin Booker. I'm not sure. I don't know what it is. But that dude, they cannot make it work in Minnesota.
Well, it's like the bad years in Chicago forever. It's like, how can you have all of those guys around there and still be absolutely trash every year? But it's on a whole nother level because you have, 2 or 3 potential all-stars. Yeah.
No, but you see, though, the thing with Chicago, what everyone has been saying with Chicago, they need a quarterback. We know the problem with Chicago. We really didn't know that. We really don't know the problem was going on. We really don't know what the problem is with Minnesota. Like why they cannot constantly win any ball games. So
yeah, I don't know. They're a problem right there. Speaking about Western Conference teams, transitioning back into the playoffs now. Games just started yesterday. The Mavericks beat the Clippers in game 1. Who do you guys see coming out of the West?
Oh,
the one
you said the Mavs beat the Clippers? The Mavs beat the Clippers?
The Mavs beat the Clippers, yes.
Mavs beat the Clippers. Trailblazers beat the Nuggets.
Yes.
So who do you think? Okay, this one's a tough series right here. The Denver-Portland series. Who do you guys think comes out of that?
I say Portland.
Denver and Portland keeps going to 7 games. I think Denver comes out of it. I think Denver comes out of it.
No.
I would pick literally the Nuggets in 7. I would not be surprised if the Trailblazers come out of it at all, though. That is such a close series, and they play each other well so often.
I've seen Damian Lillard play, and that dude is scary when it matters.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's Trailblazers in 6, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy series, though. That's a crazy matchup for. If you're looking at it, you're looking at these top seeds of the West. You're like, how did we get the matchups we had? Right? Like the Jazz got Memphis. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But you look at the Suns,
they
pulled the Lakers in the first round.
Dude,
it's like, how did we get
the
that?
The Jazz Memphis is the only one that we're like, yeah, okay, they're moving on. But the other 3 are really competitive.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm the Clippers, I'm like, thank God I'm playing Luka and the Mavericks. I could be playing Damian Lillard and that's no disrespect to the Mavericks. That's just that's how the Western Conference turned out.
I think the Clippers lost on purpose But if I was the Clippers, I would have rather play Portland than play the Mavericks. I really do think that by them tanking on purpose so they wouldn't play the Lakers, I really do think that they put themselves in a hole here. And I say this why. I'm gonna tell you why. I mean, this man Luka Doncic is unreal, and we saw what happened last year in the bubble. They almost beat them. And they almost beat them. And the only reason why they didn't beat them was because Kristaps Porzingis got hurt. Now Kristaps Porzingis is healthy now, and now Luka Doncic has his running mate. It's really about to be some trouble for the Clippers. I think they can lose this series in 6 games.
I think they do lose this series in 7.
Wow, I think they make it out of it. I really.
My problem is we just talked about Kristaps and Luka and all that. Yeah, and then playoff P shows up and puts up 12 points a night, and then can Kawhi Leonard beat the Mavericks team?
Yep.
Everyone overrated the Clippers last year. It's going to do the same thing.
Yep, it's the same thing that happened in the bubble last year. They playoff P. He didn't shoot the ball extremely well either yesterday.
No. That one's rough. Who are you here? I'm not gonna say it's hard to pick who is our guy coming out, but who are your 2 Western Conference Finals teams?
Okay, we'll go back to the
This is hard to think of because you look at how it's shaping up right now. You've got of the teams I think that'll make it to the second round in the West. I think the Jazz make it to the second round, and they'll go to play the Clippers. And I think the Nuggets make it to the second round. I'm still struggling on who to pick in the Suns-Lakers series. I think
LeBron's not what he was at the start of the year.
I think I may stick with Suns.
He still got a triple. Even though I'm not a LeBron fan like that, man still got a triple double against the Warriors. It was like a 20. It was like a 20-point triple double. Like something that's low for him when he gets triple doubles, but still the man still got a triple double. Like
I think
he's just making like the reason why I say he's talking about his ankle so much is to make an excuse for if he loses before he gets to the finals. Like I think he's fine. He's just being a baby.
I think this is kind of a hot take. I think the Western Conference Finals is going to be made up of both LA teams.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be Clippers and Lakers.
Oh
wow, dude!
I'm looking at it.
I got Utah.
I'm looking at it. I like Utah too. I think the Clippers can beat them. I think the Clippers can beat them, and they just.
Oh, will the Clippers beat the Mavericks?
I think they will. I'm not.
No.
I know they're down 1 game in the series already. I bet they get past Mavericks. I bet they get past
So
Dallas.
you mean to tell me, D-Hall, they're gonna beat the Don and Luka? Clippers gonna beat the Don?
They will.
They gonna beat the Don? Oh my goodness! They're not gonna beat the Don.
No way.
I think they will.
They will not beat the Don.
Here's my thing.
I'm not saying this is a super confident answer, but I'm looking at it. If I had to pick a Western Conference Finals, that's what I got.
That's what everyone thought last year. Utah has bodied the Clippers.
If it's the Jazz and someone like if Jazz beat the Clippers, and that happens, I'm not super confident in this take, but that's.
There's only one team that matches up rough for the Jazz, and that is the Lakers, because nobody has an answer for LeBron.
That is true.
I think Dallas takes the Clippers out in the first round, and so I think it's Utah, Dallas there, and Utah. There's 3 candidates for the 6th man of the year: Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson, and Derrick Rose. The Jazz has such a deep team that they have 2 candidates for 6th man of the year. So we talk about matchups, okay? And we go Dallas and Utah. Your matchups are, can Donovan Mitchell outscore Luka, and can Rudy defend Kristaps, right? Oh, and then you have 5 other guys who have potential to put up 20 points a night. Utah is so deep, there's no way the Clippers or the Mavericks can beat them.
I think the Clippers can beat them.
I
think if
you have way too much faith.
Based off star power alone, based off veteran guys they have like Rajon Rondo on that team who are there. I think
Rondo's not going to do anything against Conley.
What do you mean?
Nope.
Okay.
Y'all have way too much faith in that.
I don't know.
I agree with you, DC. I say that the Clippers are gonna lose to the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Like I think the Mavericks are like Luka. Luka did not. I don't think Luka has forgot what happened last year. They should have beat them as the 7th seed, and that would have been one of the major upsets in the playoffs. They should have beat them as a 7th seed. The reason why they didn't beat them because Kristaps Porzingis got hurt. So yeah, Kristaps back. If he stays healthy the whole series, is say I think Mavs in 6 or Mavs in 7. And I say this. After this season, the Clippers will trade Paul George. Actually, no, Kawhi Leonard will leave if they lose in the first round, especially. Because I think his contract is up after this year. So he will leave. So I got Utah and the Mavs meeting up in the second round. Portland, because I think not having Jamal Murray is gonna Dame's gonna overpower him.
It's gonna be a problem for him.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. And they have CJ McCollum back, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so they got CJ McCollum. That backcourt's gonna be too much for Denver. So I got Portland going to the second round, and the Lakers going to the second, beating the Suns. And then I got the Jazz. Actually, you know what?
That Jazz Mavericks series tough. I still think the Jazz.
Luka may mess around and make it to the conference finals this year. So I got the Mavs and the Lakers in the conference finals. And then over here on the West, I think the Philly takes care of Washington. New York take care of it. That's gonna be a tough series between New York and Atlanta. New York takes care of it. New York take care of Atlanta. And then the other thing is too, we gotta watch with Milwaukee in the Miami Heat series. They may mess around and beat the Bucks in the first round. But I got the Bucks beating the Heat though, because I think not having Victor Oladipo is gonna hurt them because they traded some key pieces to get them, and then Brooklyn is gonna beat the Celtics, and I got the Brooklyn Nets versus the 76ers in the conference finals, and I think who meets in the finals is the Lakers and the Nets.
All right, let's move back over to the West though. Before we get over to the East, let's move back to the West. No, it's completely fine, man. That's what happens. It happens with discussion. So how it looks like we're going. I've got the 2 LA teams in the Western Conference Finals. DC, who you got?
I have Utah. I just explained why we all think Utah's going to beat Memphis, right? That's not an argument, right? And I personally think that Utah matches up way better on the Clippers if the Clippers win that series. And then they're too deep of a team and offensive threats that they're going to outplay the Mavericks. So I have Utah coming out of that section of the West. On the bottom part, I think Damian Lillard at least pulls away from Denver. I think that one's going to go Portland in 6, and you'll have the Trailblazers in the second round. Bottom one is tough because the question is, what LeBron are we getting? Anthony Davis can't carry a team through the playoffs. He couldn't carry a team to the playoffs. He's a number 2 guy. Great.
Yep.
A great number 2 guy, but he's still a number 2 guy. So the question is, what LeBron are we getting? And that's tough. Can Chris Paul – that one's tough. I think it's – okay, LeBron is like the Tom Brady of the NBA. I'm tired of saying, oh, no, he's done this year. He's not going to tank out in the first round. That's not happening. So I think the Lakers beat the Suns, and then the Lakers beat the Trailblazers. So I have Utah and the Lakers in the finals or the Western Conference Finals.
Hey, don't compare Tom Brady to LeBron James because the difference is Tom Brady's the best football player to ever play and Michael Jordan's the best basketball player to ever play.
I agree
That's
with
true.
you, D-Hall. Yeah.
But my thing is every year, the problem is last couple of years we've all been like, LeBron's about to drop. And I think he is starting to with these injuries piling up.
Yeah.
But we've been doing that with Tom Brady too. We're like, there's no way. 43-year-old Tom Brady. Oh, there's another Super Bowl. There's
maybe
no way.
Maybe Mr. Brady is taking steroids.
No. That's true, DC. I know my inner Bulls fan just got triggered. That's all. My Chicago.
No, 100%. LeBron is number 2 all time. I would argue no. I don't know. I like Kobe more than LeBron personally.
That's what I said. I got him 3 behind Kobe. But.
I think it depends on the day. What mood do you catch me in that day?
All right. Transitioning back, Western Conference Finals. DC, who you got?
Western
DC,
Conference.
Sorry, Dante, my bad.
I kind of went on my spiel, but The Lakers and the Mavs in the conference finals.
Lakers and Mavs.
Yeah.
So look
I
at
think
that.
I think Luka messes around and gets to the conference finals this year, man.
So
A
all
5th and a 7th seat in the conference finals.
That's
I
like
got
some
a fourth-
2K stuff
I got
right
a
there.
fourth and a seventh.
Yeah, it is.
All of us got the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals as a 7th seed.
Yeah, you just don't bet against LeBron. It's not happening.
If LeBron and AD were healthy for most of the year, they're not a 7 seed. They're either the 1 or the 2 seed. But I do say this though, and here's my hot take for the day. I think the Lakers, no matter what happens in the playoffs, if they win the championship, if they lose or don't even make it, I think you trade Anthony Davis. And the reason why you trade Anthony Davis, he gets hurt too much, man. Like that's the problem with Anthony Davis. He gets hurt entirely too much. And if you could trade him while his value is still high and get a good player in return that's going to be healthy, if for most of the year or even all of the year, for most of the year, then why not, man? Because
I'd argue against that. I know why not. They won a championship together. Why would
yeah,
you
but
break up the
no.
championship?
Think about it though. Anthony Davis got a break in the middle of the season. So all his nicks and bruises he had, he rested up for like 2 or 3 months, and that's why he was able to last so long, because he had that rest. Now you see when he played a full season with not as much rest in between. You saw what happened to him. His Achilles started messing up. His groin started messing up. Like that's the thing. That's why I say you trade him. I would rather take it. Joel Embiid has had injury issues, but I think he's more durable than Anthony Davis.
Why would the Sixers trade you Embiid though?
I was just comparing the two.
Yeah,
Like,
As far as big men go.
I think his value though is not high enough for it. You know, like his value is not high enough to get a superstar player who will.
Man, what?
And they've
People
already
think
won
Anthony.
together.
People think Anthony Davis. Some people around the league think Anthony Davis is a top 5 player when healthy. You talking about his value isn't high, man.
I'm telling this value is not
Dude,
high enough
Anthony
to get
Davis is like the
replace.
Christian McCaffrey of this year.
Hey, I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying
it's
he's
true.
not high enough to get an elite player. The Sixers won't trade Embiid to him.
Not that. Like, you know, oh yeah, of course. That dude, Joel Embiid's untouchable. Well, let's say the Lakers put up a package to get Ben Simmons, and put Ben Simmons at the power forward.
And the Lakers are worse. Then the Lakers are worse.
Are you sure? Yeah,
I don't know.
Gonna stay.
Ben Simmons is going to stay there the whole season, and that matters.
Ben Simmons is going to stay there the whole season. He's not going to average as much points, but his defense is phenomenal, like Anthony Davis is.
When it matters, would you rather have LeBron and AD or LeBron and Ben Simmons? I'd have LeBron
Okay,
and Ben Simmons.
obvious. Okay,
Depends on what AD you get.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Obviously, if AD is healthy, I'm taking AD and LeBron
Yes.
over LeBron and Ben Simmons. But
Consistency matters.
But Ben Simmons doesn't get hurt like AD does. So I mean, I'm going to take Ben Simmons and LeBron if AD keeps getting hurt like this. Like if AD has like 2 injuries per year to keep him out like 15 games each. Like, what's the point of paying him all that money and keeping him on your team? Because you'll never get that continuity like that. Even though they kind of do have the continuity from when they played the first time, it's not gonna be as hard to pick it up when he comes back. But still, though, you gotta keep picking up that continuity back again, and then you have to be worried about another injury when he gets back. The first game he came back, like I think like he came back from that Achilles injury. Like a few games back, he hit his back and he was worried about his lower back soreness and stuff like that. He had to play through some injuries near the end of the year just so him and LeBron could get some chemistry playing together. So I mean, that's why I say I would trade him. But they're not going to trade him. But I would. To be honest, and I say this even though he chokes in the playoffs, but LeBron, I think LeBron can step him out of it. I would trade for Paul George. Why not? Because
I think that's stronger than him and Ben Simmons. I just find it hard to believe you already won one with AD. Yeah, I was in the bubble. Yeah, it was. They had a time off because of COVID. Yes, they had. It just why fix it if we're talking about the Lakers going to the Western Conference Finals now? Why fix it if it's working?
Because the main reason why they're the 7th seed is because they didn't have a second superstar. They didn't have another superstar to carry the load when
They didn't
LeBron
have
was
a
hurt.
first superstar too. LeBron missed significant time as well.
He said no. He missed significant time after he sprained his ankle. He did not miss any time. Like when it was just LeBron, they were in that top 5 range in the Western Conference. After LeBron got hurt and they didn't have no one, that's when they started dropping games. Then AD came back and they were doing all right, but they didn't have the reason why they fell so far as they did is because they did not have that other superstar to carry the load while the other superstar was hurt.
All right, so now we all got our Western Conference Final championship. I got the 2 LA teams. DC's got Utah and the Lakers, and Dante's got the Mavericks and the Lakers. DC, who you got going on to the finals out of the Western Conference?
I got Utah. I know I'm a Jazz fan, but I got Utah.
Dante? Keep
okay,
going.
Does Dante want to freak out? I'll give him a sec to freak out if he wants to. Do you want to hear my reasoning before you blow up? You look.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so throughout the season, the Utah Jazz have ranked number 1 in 3 points made, right? 4th in total scoring. Their offense is number 3. They're number 1 in 3-pointers. They don't allow 3-point shots to be made. They're number 1 in stopping assists. They have the fewest assists allowed. They stop that ball from moving. They stop it from going on. So the only way you're going to score on Utah is if you try to drive it over the arguably soon-to-be potential defensive player of the year, the Stifle Tower, Rudy Gobert, because you ain't shooting outside. Like I said, my only issue with Utah is how do they match up against LeBron? So I think this one goes down to Game 7 and is as competitive as Denver and Utah was last. But I got to take Utah. That team is too deep, and too many pieces are working, and there's an argument for chemistry being off the charts.
I say this, and honest, the only way I take Utah over the Lakers is Anthony Davis gets hurt. Yeah, I think that's too much firepower for LeBron to handle by himself. But if Anthony Davis is healthy and LeBron James is healthy, they will beat Utah in 6, or I may even do a gentleman's sweep in 5 for the Lakers. There is no way I say Utah is getting past them. Donovan Mitchell is good. Rudy Gobert is great defensively. Jordan Clarkson is good. But are you really going to rely on Jordan Clarkson to be that second? I forgot you got Mike Conley too, but I mean, but then Lakers.
You mean 19 points a game, Jordan Clarkson? You mean number 1 in free throw or in the top 10 in free throw percentage, Jordan Clarkson?
That's fair. But who are the Lakers getting back though? Dennis Schroeder.
Overrated.
Stop. No. The Lakers are a different team I don't know what it is. I don't know why this is so, but when the Lakers have Dennis Schroeder, they are a different team.
Just fits.
Yeah, he's a great role player.
They play better.
He's a great role player. So is Joe Ingles. So is Mike Conley. So is Jordan Clarkson.
All right, so DC's got Utah coming out. He's got Utah coming out of the West. Dante, you have the Mavericks and Lakers in your Western Conference Championship.
I got the Lakers coming out the West.
I don't think
the NBA will allow for there not to be a Lakers and Nets finalist matchup. There's no way the NBA won't allow it.
I think they will, and that's based off the Eastern Conference. I got the Lakers beating the Clippers and moving on. I got them beating them in 5-6 games.
I got the Lakers.
Hey, I got to say one more thing about this Utah-LA matchup, okay? Mm-hmm. Utah has beaten LA 2 of the 3 games they played, okay?
Okay.
The one they lost went to overtime.
Okay.
And Jordan Clarkson scored 27 points in one of them, 18 in one of them, and 22 in one of them because, he doesn't score against LA, right? Yeah, and the 2 games they won were more than double digits, one of which they beat the Lakers 114-89.
Okay, can you please tell me if Anthony Davis was playing?
I have no idea how to find that.
The box score. Okay.
While you guys look into that, we'll transition into the Eastern. Once you guys look up that stat and got it. So Eastern Conference matchups. Sitting there, first round, number 1 seed in the East, you got the 76ers. They're playing the Wizards. You've got the Knicks and the Hawks as the 4-5. You have the Bucks and the Heat as the 3-6, and the Nets and Celtics as the 2-7.
Okay, hold on. One of those games, LeBron nor AD didn't play. That's the 111-97 game. The other game, only LeBron James played. They lost 89-114.
You know, LeBron James, but he doesn't matter.
I mean, he didn't have his running mate.
I'm just saying, the one matchup I just said was a big issue. Got bodied. Now, yes, your argument that AD hasn't been playing. Well, that's great. You just said in the playoffs last year he got a big break with that 4-month break. He doesn't have it now. He's way too inconsistent. You almost made the argument Ben Simmons would be a better option.
Yeah.
So your argument with LA beating Utah in the conference finals is, what if this guy who's been irrelevant all season almost shows up and plays like a god in the Western Conference final?
Can I say this? Yeah. Before I say my answer.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Y'all lost to them in overtime when LeBron nor AD wasn't playing. So what makes you think y'all gonna beat them in the conference finals? Yeah.
We also didn't have Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, or Mike Conley playing. Look at the box score.
I'll give you that. That is very true.
Our bench lost to Utah. Our bench lost to LA. Our bench, led by Jordan Clarkson, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Joe Ingles, took the Lakers to overtime.
So can we okay. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. That's off. That's fine and all. But can we both agree that we have not seen these two teams play each other at full strength?
I want to see it. Yeah, like I said, this will come down to 7 games.
This is not going down to 7 games.
That would be a crazy.
You're saying that all these guys show up and the Lakers just all of a sudden 5 games it against one of the deepest, not one of the deepest teams.
I'll be respectful and say 6 games.
6 games would be optimistic. This is going 7.
You got 6. I don't know. We'll just have to see when that comes around. Hopefully it does. That would be a really good series.
That would be a good matchup. I think that would be the best matchup of this setup.
Moving on to the Eastern Conference. Who do you guys coming out of each game in round 1 to get to your Western Conference? All right, Eastern Conference.
Dante, you want to go? You want me to go first?
What, for round 1?
Yep, yeah. Round 1 in the East.
I got Washington beating Philly. I'm just playing. Philly beating Washington. New York beating Atlanta. I think it's a toss-up between Milwaukee and Miami. Because Miami plays not as hard. I got Milwaukee beating Miami, though. And Brooklyn beating Boston. And you talk about continuity. Brooklyn, I don't think because James Harden, Kyrie, and KD barely play with each other during the regular season, and I think we saw the ramifications of that in Game 1 against Boston because they had to pull away at the end because I think that's due to the fact they don't know how to play with each other quite right.
They know how to score, yeah, but I mean they combined put up 82 points. I think I saw that.
Yeah,
but there's not enough chemistry to play otherwise.
That's why the Nets aren't coming out of the East.
No, it's not happening.
They're
going to be overhyped because of it's the same way the Lakers were last year.
And they've got no defense too. I do not think the Nets come out of the East.
Like I said before, I'll say it again. The NBA with 2 of the top 5 biggest stars in the league are not letting them lose in the East. No, they're not letting them not come out the Eastern Conference.
They're gonna get beat so bad that the NBA can't bail them out.
Giannis is going to give them fits because they have no defense to stop him. He's
Thank
going to
you.
put up 42 a game in that second round, and
Look,
Milwaukee in 5 or 6.
Showing my hand a little bit. The Bucks have beat the Nets in 2 of the 3 games they played this year. And the one that they lost by 2 in January.
Hey, you know who was missing when he went on his little sabbatical? Kyrie Irving, and they still beat him. Who was missing? Okay,
just wait. The Bucks are different this year. I'm telling you. I know that the Bucks have been beat. I know that they've disappointed. I'm telling you. I got the Bucks coming out of the East.
So the games
too.
So the games you say that so Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving played, and they were missing James Harden, and that's one of the games they beat them. They only beat them 118 to 124. The other game they beat them, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving only played, no James Harden. But when James Harden and Kevin Durant were playing with each other, I think that's the first game James Harden was with them. They beat the Nets 125 to 123. So I mean,
I'm telling you, it'll be close. It'll be a really good series, but I do not think the Nets make it out of the second round.
Neither do I.
I don't think they do. I look at the
NBA is not allowing that. Y'all don't understand.
Brooklyn,
this league is rigged, man. They are not letting them lose in the second round. They let them lose in the conference finals.
If Brooklyn plays Milwaukee in that second round, they don't make it out. If they play Miami, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I agree with that.
More so than the NFL, the NBA is rigged. They are not letting ratings lose. They're not letting a team that's going to bring in ratings each and every night lose in the second round. They at least let them lose in the conference finals or in the finals.
They can stack it up as much as they want. I think the Bucks will flat out beat them.
If you say so,
if they could manipulate it as much as they could, the 2 LA teams would have been in the Western Conference Finals last year. The Clippers, that's what they wanted. They hyped it up so it was the Clippers and Lakers last year, and the Clippers were not good enough to be there. They couldn't.
The Clippers are because they try to push it. They also try to push a narrative that Luka Doncic is hold on, never mind. I'm talking about they lost to the Nuggets last year, right?
Yeah, they lost to the Nuggets. They beat the Mavericks
in 7. They blew a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, but they couldn't account for the fact that Paul George would be trash.
Yeah,
and they still
account for how bad the Nets defense is going to be when the 2-time reigning MVP is going all over them. When they have
and
their strategy is not playing defense.
James Harden's not regular season James Harden. This is playoffs. He's not going to get to the line every time he wants.
And look, the Bucks have a top 5 defense in the NBA. It's a bad matchup for the Nets.
Oh, who can guard Kyrie on that team? Who can guard Kyrie on that team?
Doesn't matter. Who's going to say Kyrie's even going to show up to the game? We don't even know he shows up.
Don't do Kyrie like that, man. He's going to show up. It's the playoffs, man. He has to show up.
I don't know.
He did versus Boston.
I don't know.
But Boston's way different. A team that he used to play against, Boston's way different than the Bucks.
Yeah, that one's
when have you ever seen Kyrie Irving have a choke job in the playoffs?
That's true.
I'm saying, is he actually going to physically show up to the game?
He is going to physically show up to the game, man. Don't do Kyrie like
that,
man. Yeah,
I'm sure. Are you sure?
I'm sure. Kyrie Irving shows up to every single one of the playoff games this year.
Look, Dante, you've been saying this, though. You've been talking about playoff P, and you were dogging me for picking the Clips to go to the Western Conference Finals because you said Paul George does not show up in the playoffs. And then you're going to give it to the Nets, who have James Harden, and you're going to talk
James Harden shows up in the playoffs. It's not his fault. He had to play Golden State. It is not his fault. He had to play Golden State.
Oh. No
way. Chris Paul, who takes trash teams to the playoffs.
The line, and he doesn't. He can't do it in the playoffs. The games aren't like they're on the regular.
Our argument for Chris Paul being MVP, you said a lot of that everyone dogged him for the Houston playoffs, but nobody factored in James Harden in the playoffs. Now you're defending James Harden.
They had to play Golden State. You don't
understand
how much of a juggernaut Golden State was.
I do understand how much of a juggernaut Golden State was.
You had to play Golden State.
Not that same juggernaut.
But if you play at that level, LeBron beat Golden State.
Stop
if you play like that level.
Like I said, the NBA is a rigged league. I have my theory about that. The reason why LeBron came back 3-1 that's an anomaly in itself. But the reason why he came back 3-1 was when they suspended Draymond Green for Game 5. And if Draymond Green plays Game 5, they beat them in 5 games. This is why I tell people every time. The league knew what they were doing. They were suspending Draymond Green. They suspended him. He didn't even trail over his nuts. This man, LeBron James, instigated it. He stepped over Draymond Green. Draymond Green tried to get up, and then LeBron James put on his great acting Oscar-nominated performances. And then they suspended for Game 5, right?
So the Splash Brothers didn't matter?
LeBron, no, because Curry was hurt. Curry, no, people don't realize this. People don't ever like to say this. Stephen Curry was hurt. He had to have surgery on his knees after the playoffs. Because remember, he sprained his knee real bad against the Rockets I think it was the first.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Yeah, he sprained his knee real bad, and he had to have surgery after the playoffs. So he had to hurt Curry, and then LeBron and Kyrie go off for 41 apiece in game 5. Game 6, you do not. I don't care who you are. Since LeBron James has been with Miami, you do not beat LeBron James in elimination at home. So you're not beating him in Game 6 in Miami, and then in Cleveland, and then they get to Game 7, and I don't care what you say. When it's Game 7, since LeBron James has been in Miami, you do not beat LeBron James in Game 7. You don't.
I'm just saying, your justification for Brooklyn is a conspiracy theory.
Going back.
What do you mean? What's a conspiracy theory?
Your argument for Brooklyn getting out of the East is the NBA is rigged. You didn't.
All
you said was James Harden scores a lot of points and the NBA is rigged. James Harden's not showing up in the playoffs. He never does.
He does show in the playoffs. He had to play Golden State.
One game. One game.
What do you mean one game? Almost every time he's been eliminated, it's been by Golden State in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. With Kevin Durant.
And one was without Kevin. No, because remember,
So he had to join Kevin Durant.
It's the other thing people don't want to realize. When Kevin Durant, that's when Kevin Durant went down with the Achilles strain the first time before he tore his Achilles in the finals. People don't realize this. They were dominating Golden State when Kevin Durant was playing. When Kevin Durant went down, that's when Golden State started beating them because when Kevin Durant plays, I think they go too much ISO. But when Kevin Durant was playing with the Warriors, I think the reason why they would lose against the Rockets were better at ISO ball than the Warriors were. But when Kevin Durant went down, that's when they went back to the old Warriors ways of swinging the ball around and all those screens and stuff like that. That's when they started to beat them because no one can beat that when Curry is doing that and Klay Thompson is doing it.
I still think you got way too much faith in those guys.
Speaking of LeBron's dramatics, though, from earlier, I just want to know, did you guys see when he had that foul, when Draymond fouled him the other day in the play-in game? Did you see the quote he had the next day? He was like, on his shot, his big shot that he took him to the next game, he said, I was seeing 3 buckets, and I just shot for the middle one.
It's a liar, bro.
Okay, this is the going back to this one argument that we were talking about a little bit earlier about Michael Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. Kobe and Michael would argue, they would try and hide their injuries and argue that they're not hurt and play through the flu and do all this stuff. And LeBron is trying to hype himself up and make him look.
Kobe finished shooting his free throws after he tore his Achilles. He walked up to the line, shot his free throws before he left.
Yes, LeBron would have put on a performance. Call the ambulance. I need help.
Have y'all seen the thing I put on my Instagram story today? Basically, it's a quote. Kobe's wife was talking to him, and he was injured, and they were asking him why he wasn't sitting out the game. And he said, "What about that one guy who saved up all his money to come see me play once?" Kobe never left the game.
No, it's different.
LeBron does it every time he rolls anything.
LeBron James is such a liar, bro. I was seeing 3. This dude, he said he was seeing 3, mind you. This dude hit 2 free throws after that, and then this dude wants to go. If you say I can't see, how can you not see when you splash a 30-foot 3-point shot?
And the foul was not that bad.
It wasn't.
No. I was over at some of my buddies' house, and we were watching the game. And we were all trying to talk about, we're like, is this a technical or is it not? And we didn't even know. We were like,
it was just a good hard foul.
In the 90s, in Michael Jordan's era, that foul's not even getting called.
I think it is because how he did. He went with 2 hands. But
it's getting called, but I agree with what you're saying. It's nowhere close to a technical. Mm-hmm. It's like
it was just a good foul.
Second, he's getting that not from Draymond Green. He's getting that from Bill Laimbeer. He's getting it from way superior people than Draymond Green.
He's getting tossed.
Well, instead of they're gonna clothesline them and just bang.
All right, so stepping back to the Eastern Conference right here. So we've been talking through. We got to go through all the games. We got to create an Eastern Conference Finals matchup. DC, you go first.
Okay, so I'm going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
Yep.
Okay, so for the first one, it's a lot like Utah-Memphis. I just think that there's too much power on one team. That's why they're the 1 seed. Philly's beating Washington. Sorry, Westbrook. The second game, that New York-Atlanta. Look, New York is such a great story this year. And I think this is their ideal matchup. I think if they matched up against anyone else in the playoffs, other than Washington or Atlanta, they're losing in round 1. But because they matched up Atlanta, New York's moving on to the second round to play Philly. That Milwaukee-Miami game, I think Milwaukee takes it because it's just Giannis. I don't think Miami's what they were last year. Brooklyn and Boston, I have Brooklyn just because I don't think Boston's what they were last year. I think Brooklyn, even though they don't play enough defense or any defense, they score a lot of points, and that's just going to get them out of the first round. It's just going to happen. Okay, Philly and New York in the second round. I think Philly's coasting their way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Those are 2 great matchups to go up against Washington and New York. It's going to be Philly. Joel's going to – it's going to be Philly in 4 or 5. It's going to happen. It might be a gentleman's sweep in 5, but I honestly think that could be a clean sweep. Milwaukee, Brooklyn. I know we just argued about that for half an hour. It's going to Milwaukee. Brooklyn can't play defense, and Giannis gives them fits every time they play.
Okay.
So my Eastern Conference Finals team are Philly and Milwaukee.
Mine is actually the same. I was going to have Dante go next, but just because I wanted to go through it. Literally, my matchups are the exact same as in the conference as yours is DC. I think the Knicks got super lucky with who they got. About a defensive-minded team with a defensive-minded coach, Tom Thibodeau, against Trae Young and a super offensive-minded team. And in the NBA playoffs, it tends to lean toward defense. When it comes down into crunch time, it tends to lead toward who has played a better defensive game throughout all 4 quarters. So look, I think the Knicks take that one. I think it's a good series. I think Knicks maybe get by in 6 or 7. I think it might be a 7-game series. Knicks get by. Then I think the 76ers win in 5. I think Washington will get 1, but Washington, they need another year. They need a new head coach. They need another piece that can help bridge the gap between Bradley Beal and Westbrook and help them get to one of where these teams are in the East. I think
they need some.
What'd you say?
I think they need some more role players. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, they need another glue piece to just keep their team together, and they need a new head coach. So I think they need another year before they can really compete in this East. And then you move down that list. I think this is going to be the craziest first round series other than the Suns Lakers. I think the Heat and Bucks is going to be huge. I think the Bucks are going to win in 6. I think, but I think it's going to be every single game. It's going to come. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to come down to overtime, or it's going to
final score win by 4 type thing. Like these are going to be close games.
It's going to be super close the entire way through, and they're going to play each other so well. Because look, we're talking about the Heat not making it out, and they won the East last year. Given it was COVID, given it was bubble, given they overachieved, but this Heat team is really good, and that's a bad matchup Milwaukee pulled in the first round. I think the Bucks have. I think it's just the Bucks' year. I think that they just get past them. They're just a better team. I think they're built just slightly better than the Heat, but that's going to be a good series. And I think the Nets beat the Celtics in 5. I think Celtics get 1 game, maybe when they're down 3-0 or when they're down 2. I think they get 1 game where they take it. And
that's
then
fair.
After the second round, I think 76ers beat the Knicks in 5 games.
Okay.
No problems. Move on to the Eastern Conference Finals because the Knicks aren't there yet. They don't have those pieces. And they just got lucky with the matchup they pulled. And then I think Bucks-Nets, we've been talking about it. I think it goes 7 games. I think it's a really good series. I think the Bucks are a better built team. I really do. I think the Bucks are better built. I think Giannis gives them fits. I think the Bucks are a better defensive team. I think the Nets, don't worry, there'll be a game in that series where the Nets win by 15 and just look like they hit every shot that they took. There will be a game.
Might even be game 1. It might even be everyone going, oh, look, see, Brooklyn's got it, game 1.
I think the Bucks win that series. And then, so my Eastern Conference matchup is Bucks and 76ers.
I agree with y'all, but the only thing I don't agree with y'all, I think the Bucks and not the Bucks, the Nets.
You think Brooklyn beats Milwaukee?
Yeah, Brooklyn beats Milwaukee and plays Philly because I do think, like you said, D Hall, that Washington is a few role players away, like a glue piece away, or like a few role players away from being actually a good contender in the Eastern Conference. New York, I think they're just young, and then Julius Randle came out and balled out this year. I think they need like at least another year or two for them, like RJ Barrett to come on and start averaging like 20.
New York
21.
reminds me of like Boston a couple years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Like, let these guys develop. That's how I see. Now, New York needs what Boston got. Boston got Kyrie, which made it matter. And now they have Kemba, and that's a good – but they need one more piece to make them legitimate in these playoff games.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with you. I think Milwaukee beats Miami. I think Miami is a superstar away from actually being the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I think that
a healthy Oladipo, you give them a year. Next year, the Heat could be that team. They really could.
And it's rumored that Kawhi Leonard is favorite destination right now is Miami. He's rumored to go to Miami after this year with the Clippers. Depending on stuff, depending on how it goes, that'll be the best defensive team ever. Not ever, but in the NBA because Jimmy Butler is good on defense, Bam Adebayo is good on defense, and Kawhi Leonard is obviously considered to most the best perimeter defender in the NBA right now. So then you got Brooklyn and Boston. Brooklyn, the offensive firepower is insane. You can't. You talk about defense. They understand they don't play defense, but here's their thing. Yeah, we're gonna let you score, but you're not scoring us. Basically, like a Cliff Kingsbury team with Patrick Mahomes at Tech. Like, we're not gonna play any defense, but we're gonna put up 50 touchdowns. You're not gonna play as many touchdowns as us. Like something like that. That's how the Brooklyn Nets are. It's offense all the time. They're like Mike. It's like one of Mike D'Antoni teams on steroids, basically.
And guess how many teams won the finals with that?
Not my fault. It's not his fault. He had to go against Golden State, man. Not his fault. But yeah, I think Milwaukee has no answer for James Harden, Kevin Durant, or Kyrie, and that's why I say they're going to lose to them. But who knows? Giannis may actually make it to the conference finals this year, but I say that's like a 25% chance of that happening.
No. Giannis against the Brooklyn Nets this year. I was doing the math while you were hyping up Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Giannis against the Brooklyn Nets in the 3 games they played averaged 39.7 points, 10.7 rebounds, and 5 assists.
That's in a regular season, though. But we got to see what he does in the playoffs because that's when players are actually playing defense more and it intensifies. So
I'm just saying
let's see what happens in the
playoffs.
playoffs.
Zero answer for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
They got to play Griffin.
So the question is, that's not going to matter. He doesn't play defense. All that's going to matter is whether or not all of those pieces can score incredibly well and outplay Giannis, because Giannis is going to put up 40 or 50 a game.
And if we keep just saying Giannis, people forget Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton's actually who
Chris
got
Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez matters.
Middleton's the hottest player in basketball right now.
Think so?
Ending the regular season and coming into the playoffs, yes. He's been absolutely sane. I need to find his stats about what he's done this past week.
Chris Middleton's put up over 23 points a game in each one of these Brooklyn Nets matchups.
And they're all I'm telling you, he is one of the most underrated players in the NBA, and he's playing so hot right now. That's going to make a difference. I think these two teams, they're the matchup next year. I think the Nets got him. You give him a year, you add some defensive pieces,
build that chemistry.
Okay. But this is the Bucks year. I think it is. I think it's the Bucks year.
Wow. So did you know Chris Middleton used to play for Detroit?
I did not. It's rough.
Play a year for Detroit.
Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. All right, so DC, you got the 76ers and the Bucks. Who you got going on to play the Jazz in your finals?
This is tough. Here's my problem. Okay, Milwaukee played the 76ers 3 times this year. beat them all 3 times. However, Joel Embiid wasn't playing in any of them. So this is a tough matchup. Now, yes, Giannis played really well, but Joel Embiid, I mean, he's in your playoff or your MVP race here.
It's a big
I
difference.
mean, he's their franchise. Yeah. This would be like, if LeBron didn't play in any single game. Like, he's your guy. This one's tough. But I have a big problem with Philly in the playoffs because Philly, even more than Milwaukee, every year we go, Philly's got it, and they don't.
Though. Doc Rivers makes it different.
Do you think Doc Rivers makes it? Doc Rivers does matter. Oh,
I think Doc Rivers is showing what he can do with a competent, with a team that's not as high profile as the Clippers.
Mm-hmm. This series comes down to the matchup between Giannis and Joel Embiid. And
if it gets to that, I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm. And this is tough. I gotta say, just because I would love to see the small market teams, I'm just gonna favor Milwaukee here. Mm-hmm. Because I think Giannis has done this enough times. Milwaukee's got a lot to prove now because we're really tired of all this, 2-time MVP and all these studs around him, and he's not making these runs in the East, the easiest conference.
When was the last time a small market team made it to the playoffs? I mean, to the finals in the NBA?
Cleveland.
Cleveland's not a small market. Cleveland's technically considered not a small market, no. But then again, if you want to say Cleveland's a small market, but they had the best player on. They had the best. Who some people think is the best player in the league.
It's the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, and I thought
you
were about to say that too. But you also gotta remember they're a small market team in Texas, so their small market is not as small as other teams in a small market.
They're a small market for the NBA compared to some of these teams.
Oklahoma City was another one.
Like you said, there's always exceptions. There's always exceptions to the rule.
And then when you go back, it's Utah.
Hey, I see the point you're making, Dante, and I agree with your point. It's harder for a small market team to make it. I 100% agree with that. I get what you're saying. San Antonio's been the last one, in my opinion, that's there. I actually have the same exact Eastern Conference as DC. I think this is the Bucks' time. I think you look at the 76ers and how they're built. I've never been super confident in the Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons tandem. I don't think they play well together.
And I think
Joel needs a shooter. Joel needs a shooter.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think they need some help. I think that team could be better constructed. I think Doc Rivers, great job his first year. I think the 76ers just need to change out. I think they need to get rid of Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
A shooter and just get some more dynamic people in there. I don't think they're built to win a championship. They win a lot of games. They're a great team, but they beat themselves sometimes. And I think this year's no different. I'm a big Jimmy fan too, and Jimmy went in there and he couldn't fix them and just made it worse problem.
I think if James Harden had gone to Philly instead of Brooklyn, there might.
I give you this. I give y'all this thing. Let's say in the off season, the 76ers figured out that this Ben Simmons Joel Embiid thing has taken us as far as it will go. Why not trade Ben Simmons for Beal?
Bradley Beal, that would make a big difference. Yep.
That would be at least
or
on the
Ben Simmons
side.
to Chicago for Zach LaVine.
Oh yeah,
that would be even bigger. That would be even bigger.
That would be legit. Now
that's the one I really like.
Because look, I don't think the Wizards would trade Beal for Ben Simmons. I don't think they do.
But I think Chicago will. I think Chicago will trade LaVine for Ben Simmons.
For Ben Simmons, 100%.
Chicago needs to just rebuild, sell the farm, and start over.
Oh, I don't think so. Actually, I think Chicago. Look, they got Vucevic and LaVine. Those two did not play at all together last year. I think if you can find some pieces, you can compete in the East. I think if they find some pieces to play around them. Now, if they've got Ben Simmons who they could get, if they make that deal, they could compete even more. But if they can find some pieces in free agency this year, I think they're still a piece or two away. But there's no reason why the Bulls shouldn't be in the second round of the playoffs next year with the tandem they have. They've got 2 all-stars on their team, and those two didn't play
And
together.
that's what we've been saying for a few years now. In the easiest conference, you're not making playoffs?
No, what do
Yeah.
you mean? Oh no, they played like 6 games together this year because Zach LaVine went on the COVID list once they got Vooch, and then he got hurt. They haven't played together. They need a year.
I don't know.
Year. You'll see next year.
But like I said,
Okay.
I agree with DC.
All right, maybe they're wrong. Maybe I'm
You
wrong.
trade Ben Simmons for Zach LaVine, and I say this, it would be the best front court and back court tandem on the at least on the offensive side of the ball since Shaq and Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
Since
Zach
Shaq and Kobe?
LaVine.
Since Shaq and Kobe, yeah.
Wow, that's big.
Zach LaVine paired up
Well,
with
I'm talking about on the offensive side of the ball, not the defensive side, because they're both
Since Shaq and Kobe?
Okay,
Yeah,
all
probably.
right. Strictly offense, I can say yes. As
Yeah.
good or
Offense,
all
yeah.
around or defense, then no, I can't say that. But I agree with what you're
No,
saying.
not defense.
And even if I
No,
disagree with
especially
that
on
point,
defense.
what you're saying stands. Like the 76ers are a better team if they make that move and if they break up that tandem. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
take it, Dante, you got the Nets over the Sixers inside your Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
All right.
Nets
So
over Sixers.
how it stands right now, I've got the Lakers and Bucks in the finals.
Okay.
Dylan, you've got the Bucks and you've got the Jazz. And Dante, you got the Lakers and the Nets.
Yes.
DC, who is winning the NBA Finals for you?
Okay, I knew we were coming down to this because y'all know I'm a Jazz fan. Who is I don't know.
That is not a good
See,
answer.
That is a bad answer. Here's why. The forward matchups are Utah's problem. We don't have defense against elite forwards. Rudy's great down low, but we have forwards who can shoot the basketball now. So this matchup's tough because, yeah, Utah's got a deep team, but Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo are the best, I would argue, one of the best forward. They're up there with, your LeBron AD matchups. I'm just going to, because I'm a Jazz fan, I got to say this is Utah's year. I think that they're just too deep and it matters because this matchup is way too tough. If this matchup is it goes 7 games, but I got to take it. I'm taking Utah winning it all.
If DC wasn't a Utah fan, he would have the Lakers in the finals. So I just want to let that be known.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh.
I don't think AD plays. I think LeBron gets hurt in this first series, and I think just because they have enough pieces around, they can beat Brooklyn. But I don't think those two can make this entire playoff run healthy.
Okay,
If the Lakers and the Jazz play each other like I think they do in that, I think either AD or LeBron won't even be present. LeBron can't stay healthy, let alone AD.
No, he can't. You say he can't stay healthy. He just got hurt. He just sprained his ankle. Though that's the one injury he had. He didn't have multiple injuries like Anthony Davis had.
I mean, he had the big hamstring injury last year. I'm not making that same point though. I don't think he goes out hurt in these playoffs. I think it's hard. If I had to pick a matchup between the Jazz and the Bucks, I would lean toward the Bucks, but not by much. It'd be another really good series.
I think this is game 7.
I'll lean to the Bucks. I'll lean towards the Bucks as well.
Dante, who you got now? You got the Nets and the Lakers.
Oh, I got Brooklyn, baby. We live in Brooklyn,
Oh my
baby.
God.
I got Brooklyn. You can't stop, man. Like who? Okay.
You were the guy that was preaching the Clippers last year, weren't you? You were the guy saying Clippers, doesn't matter. They're going to sweep the whole West. Doesn't matter.
No, I at least thought they were going to make it to the conference finals. I didn't think Paul George was going to do that bad in the playoffs. I can't lie and say I thought I wanted them to beat LA, and I thought they had a chance of beating LA, and I think if I remember correctly, I think I did have them beating LA, but no one could have predicted how bad Paul George would have played in that bubble in the playoffs.
Everyone could. He did that every year.
That is true. Except for when he was on the Pacers with Kipper.
Yeah, when he was the only guy on the court, and it didn't matter what the offense did because it solely ran through him. He could do whatever he wanted.
That's fair, but yeah, man. I say that, bro. You can't. Y'all talk about the defense. The offensive firepower is too much. Like Yeah, KD can get 40 in his sleep. Could drop 40 in his sleep. Kyrie is gonna make you look silly. James Harden is gonna get you 20 and 10 a night.
The problem is you don't have any chemistry there. The reason the offensive power in Golden State worked with those three amazing shooters is because you had Steph Curry, who took a step back and said, I'm going to facilitate. This is not going to work. You have three guys trying to go, this is my team. Kyrie showed up and went, I'm in Brooklyn, this is my team. Then Kevin Durant showed up and he's like, I'm going to win, this is my team. And James Harden didn't like Houston, so he's like, now we're here, this is my team. So you don't have the chemistry. You don't have the Steph Curry leadership to take the step back.
What you mean?
That's going to matter.
You say that, but Kyrie already took a step back. He told James Harden he was the point guard. That was huge. People don't realize that's a huge thing to tell someone, man.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving is a short shooting guard. He's not a point guard. He just plays there because he's a midget.
I give you that's fair.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't even know that word. I'm pretty sure Kyrie is 6'3". 6'2".
Yeah, Kyrie is 6'3", but
yeah. he's in the league though. Steph Curry can play there because he puts up assists.
That's true.
Chris Paul can play there because he facilitates with leadership. Kyrie Irving is a scoring shooting guard, but short. You know, Donovan Mitchell style.
I will give you that. Like, that's actually the best. Yeah, I agree.
That was a great quote right there, DC. That's one that you put on a plaque.
Yeah, it is.
That's one where you make a graphic out of on Instagram and.
Hey, it might have to. Man.
I don't think.
Hey, if you get on that graphic, we'll put it on the podcast for it. We'll put it on the Instagram page for it.
Hey, I agree with that.
Make that graphic. We'll do that one.
I might have to.
Kyrie is a short shooting guard. The only reason he plays point guard is
it's true. It's like Donovan Mitchell playing point guard. He shouldn't, but he can.
That's why. All right. So then my finals matchup, I got the Bucks and I've got the Lakers. This would be a really good finals, I think. You look at it, I don't think it's like what it was with the Lakers and the Heat last year. How Jimmy was just outmatched and doing everything by himself. I'm telling you, the Bucks got more pieces than people give them credit for.
This is the matchup we've been waiting for since LeBron left the East.
Yeah.
Him and Giannis in the finals. This is your chance for Giannis to take the throne.
This is like what you see in like what was it? It was Game of Zones, where it's like new king. This is new king of the East.
Game of Zones. Man, that's
That's what I'm saying. Like it's gonna be either Luka or Giannis. One of them's got to take over. LeBron's getting it consistently injured. He doesn't have as many dominant years left. So who's taking over that?
Don't forget about Zion Williamson.
I got the Bucks in 7.
Hey, where the Pelicans at? I don't see them on my bracket.
Oh, so whose ring finger got broken? Zion's.
I don't see him on my. I mean, we just talked about LA spending all year in and out of injuries.
Zion didn't get hurt like that. He only reason why he missed time because he broke his finger.
Yeah, but they're still not even remotely close here.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Zion's chance is like 5 years away if he's taking it, and if he is, he's taking it from Giannis.
I think he's taking it from Luka.
Or Luka. It's going to be one of them. But somebody's going to hold it for the next few years. Zion's not up there yet.
This dude averaged, even because you remember how everyone was like talking about Zion this, and then LaMelo got drafted, everyone forgot about Zion. This dude Zion averaged 27 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
As a second year in the league. Come on.
So did Anthony Davis forever. Put up great stats in New Orleans.
Yeah. And this is all with him getting hacked in the paint every time he goes up, man.
I love Zion. I just don't think he's that guy. Zion is like the Damian Lillard idea. Great player. One of the top in the league. He will be for a while. But he's not taking the throne as that guy.
Oh, he is. Like, what do you mean? Bro, Damian Lillard didn't average 27 and 7 in his second year. Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that's going to be his level. You have too many stars around the league. Jason Tatum's better than Zion, in my opinion.
Oh. Right now, yes.
Right now, yes,
Yes.
but I don't
3 years,
think
no.
Okay, actually, no.
Mhm.
Okay.
He's got a few years. That's
Well,
all I'm
okay,
saying. If
how
he's
are
gonna
you
do it, he's
compare-
got a few years.
But how you can compare a dude in Damian Lillard who averaged 20 points and how many assists do you have? 20 and 5, while Zion averaged 27 and 7, man. You can't compare the two. Okay, let's go Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Jason Tatum this year, you say Jason Tatum is better than Zion. Jason Tatum averaged 26 and 7. Zion averaged 27 and 7. Let's go look
Jason
at
Tatum's not the only relevant player on his team.
No, don't forget about don't do Zion like that. He has Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is a bucket. He can average 24 in his sleep.
And then the next best is Lonzo Ball. The next best is Lonzo Ball, who is a Ricky Rubio, but taller.
That's fair.
Ricky Rubio.
No,
Lonzo Ball's peak is Ricky
I
Rubio.
would
He's
give him
Ricky
that-
Rubio
that-
with a three-point shot.
That is very true, and plays better defense.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, look what Anthony Davis did in New Orleans forever. Up around 27, 28 points a season.
So
More
are we
rebounds
sure?
than Zion.
Are we sure that Jason Tatum is better than Zion Wilson? Are we really
I'm
sure?
not saying
DC?
sure. I'm just saying
20
if you have an
27?
argument, he's not the guy. Everyone picks LeBron as the number one. It's even with Steph Curry putting up great numbers. Even with Kevin Durant, we all went, yeah, but it's LeBron.
I don't think no. I don't. I agree. I disagree with everyone. I go against the grain. I do not think LeBron.
No, you know what Zion's comparison is? Zion's comparison is great that people have been talking about. It's Charles Barkley.
That's what. Yeah, that's.
But
what
Charles
I think
Barkley wasn't the guy.
He was the guy. The only reason why no one won any championships in the '90s was because of Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for him, the Jazz would have won a couple, and it would have been Karl Malone was the guy.
And when Phoenix made it out the West, they would have won one with Charles Barkley.
One.
Okay?
Utah would have had more finals, would have had more championships, and
No,
Karl
no, they
Malone would
didn't.
have been the guy.
They would have only had two.
Utah would have had 2. They would have won
Yeah.
in the 90s. And I think the Suns would have won 1. I don't know.
I mean, man, like you say this about but this dude was averaging 23. This dude was averaging 27. Zion averaged. You say Jason Tatum is better than Zion. I disagree because Zion averaged 27, 3, and 7. Jason Tatum basically put up the same numbers as him, and Zion's in his second year in the league. Come on now. And then you say he's the only player on his team.
Zion's got to carry that team.
Brandon, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have to carry as they both have to carry about the same amount. I say. Brandon Ingram had 23.
Okay, then why aren't they in the playoffs?
Zion
If
broke
New
his
Orleans
finger.
has this team and he has the studs around him and the pieces,
Zion
why isn't
broke
New
his
Orleans in the
finger.
playoffs?
all right.
The man broke his finger, man. He broke his ring finger.
We got to move on the final minutes.
Wouldn't
we
matter.
got to move
Wouldn't
on.
matter. He's not the next
LeBron.
LeBron.
I don't know how we got talking about the NBA Finals to Zion versus Jason Tatum, but we did. It happened. Who knows? You guys can talk about it more in your final minute if you want, but we got to get moving. Hey, you guys got your topics for final minutes? Anything you want in sports. Just 1 minute to talk about it uninterrupted.
Oh yes.
Dante, you got yours?
Yep.
All right. Time starts now.
LeBron James is a more athletic Larry Bird. And I say this because their stats when they're both in their prime are very similar. Only reason why Larry Bird stats are not the same because Larry Bird had a bad back near the end of his career.
You got your stats pulled up? Oh,
yes, Larry Bird, he averaged 28, 6, and 8 1 year, 24, 7, and 8 1 year. So Larry Bird was averaging about the same amount of rebounds and a few less assists than LeBron James was. And LeBron James for his career is a 27, 7, and 7 guy in his career. So like I said, only thing that separates LeBron James from Larry Bird is his athleticism. That's the only reason. That's the only reason why the two are. That's the reason why LeBron James is better than Larry Bird. But I do think he's a more athletic Larry Bird.
Yeah, I don't know. They play completely different styles, I think.
And you say that, but look at the stats. Okay, for his career, LeBron is a 27. It's a 27, 7, and 7 guy. Larry Bird is a 24, and some of that's due to the fact he had a bad back for the last few years of his career. Is a 24, 6, and 8 guy. I mean, 24. I'm sorry, a 24, 6, and 10 guy. So I mean,
that's true. That is true.
And I'm sorry, I was looking at the defensive rebounds. He averaged 10 rebounds a game, 24 points a game for his career, and 6.3 assists a game. That's like LeBron James is averaging 27, 7, and 7 rebounds. So I mean, he's just a more athletic Larry Bird. But everyone wants to say, "Oh, LeBron James this, LeBron James that." But here you go look at the stats, and Larry Bird is a better three-point shooter than LeBron James is. So,
yep, that's true. DC, you got your final minute?
It's not really a minute. It's kind of just one comment.
All right. Set, go.
James Wiseman is a bust. He is. If you're going to be that big man and you're going to play like a big man, then you need to get more than 6 rebounds a game. You're going to be that guy, And it's not like Golden State had a whole lot of other dudes stealing rebounds from him. Their biggest need was center. They needed some sort of big presence down there. And he's not it.
oh
he's
my.
He's going to put up 12 points, 13 points, and 7 rebounds a game. He's going to be if Rudy Gobert couldn't play him very much defense or rebound. I think James Wiseman was a bust, which is impressive because I thought he was the next guy at center.
Wow. I don't know if that qualifies him as a bust.
I don't think he gets any better.
Maybe not the great piece for Golden State. I don't know, and he's been hurt. He's had some injuries.
Thank you. Oh my goodness,
yes.
bro.
I think the jury's still out on him. I think
even if he wasn't hurt, he started 27 games and put up 11.5 points and 5.8 rebounds. Almost averaged a block. He gets more turnovers than blocks.
I think the jury's still out on him.
It is still out.
You say this, bro. James Wiseman barely played in college, so he basically had not played for about a year and a half, almost. He was out for about that long. So he came back averaging 11 and 5. Give him like I said, I agree with D Hall.
None of these guys played very long in college.
He didn't play that much. Huh?
He played like 3 games.
If you're relevant in college, you're out.
He played like 3 games, and he got ruled ineligible by the NCAA.
You got 3 games.
I mean, you can't put that on the man. Like, he hasn't played basketball in over a year. Let's just like I said before. Let's just see what he does. What he does next year and the year after that. Give him some time, man. You don't be quick to call this man a bust. And according to my boy Kwame Brown, no one really is a bust in the NBA.
No, I'm not saying he's not going to be a relevant player.
That was a joke. Like, I don't know if y'all be keeping what's going on with Kwame Brown.
I'm not saying he's not going to be like
he's not a bust
player. He's just going to be a role player. He's going to be another Golden State center being absolutely irrelevant next to Steph Curry.
It's not going to be. Let's just see what he does next year.
Anthony Edwards. People are talking about Anthony Edwards being we're going to sell the farm and build around him. LaMelo Ball is the future of Charlotte Hornets. James Wiseman might not even be the best center in this draft.
Who's a better center than him?
Hold on. Let me pull up names because I'm forgetting names now that I'm talking about it.
Dang. You guys got to keep fighting about this another time, man. I think the jury's just still out on him. It's just hard to call him a bust.
It is still out, but it's supposed to be a hot take, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop that.
That's true. All right.
That's my. I don't think he gets much better than he currently is. I think he's just another guy bouncing around 7 different teams in the league and retiring at 29.
You guys will like my take. Ready? The Cleveland Browns should trade Baker Mayfield and a first-round pick for Aaron Rodgers. This makes a lot of sense for both teams. Look, Aaron Rodgers wants out.
Okay.
You put him in Cleveland, it changes the entire trajectory of his career if he goes to Cleveland. He now moves, if he wins a championship with Cleveland, who's got a top 5 defense, a top 5 offensive line, and an overall a top 10 offense with Kevin Stefanski, and they win a championship in Cleveland, his entire trajectory has changed. And he's now the messiah of Cleveland Browns. This makes a lot of sense for Green Bay, too, because they get a pick back in return. They get a first-round pick, and they get a young quarterback who's
To make up for that Jordan Love
himself to be good in the league. Because Jordan Love is not it. If Jordan Love was it, they would have already traded him, taken the extra picks from San Francisco, and they would have decided that Jordan Love's the guy, and they would have rolled out with him. This makes a lot of sense for both teams, I think, because you look at it, Cleveland, their window is short. Like, I know they got a ton of young players, but it's going to end up being short. Especially
All those contracts are coming up.
Exactly. So if you get rid of him, they don't have to pay Baker Mayfield his big money for his 5th player option. They get Aaron Rodgers' contract. They just play with him for a few years, and they'll win one. The Cleveland will win one with Aaron Rodgers.
I'll give you that. They're the most complete team right now in the NFL.
I think that makes sense for both sides too, because Green Bay gets to restart with a former 1st overall pick, and they get another guy who they can mentor into being the next Green Bay Packers quarterback to dominate the North.
Yeah.
Especially since we say that Baker Mayfield would be better if he only had the one main wide receiver to throw to. Well, Green Bay's notorious for only having one main wide receiver to throw to. That would be the best receiver in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Me too.
Green Bay's got enough talent around it for it to matter. They've got a good running back in Aaron Jones, decent O-line, and a great defense with a coach who will have a quarterback that actually respects him.
And he's basically almost going back into the same system. And what does Stefanski come from? Shanahan or McVay? Because I forget.
I don't actually know.
Hold on, I'll look that up real quick.
I know he was in Minnesota right before he got hired by Cleveland. He was the Minnesota offensive coordinator. Obviously, he didn't come from Zimmer, but I don't know what tree he's for part of. But what I'm saying is it makes so much sense. He gets new management, and the management that's turned around the Cleveland Browns is enough to put confidence into him, you know? I know he doesn't want to keep playing in the Midwest, but why would he turn down a trade from Cleveland Browns? And the Cleveland, if you look at it, it's almost like swapping quarterbacks. Like, yeah, your first round is valuable, but if you get Aaron Rodgers, it's the 32nd pick.
He came from Minnesota.
Stefanski just came from Minnesota. He worked at Penn for a while, and then he bounced around in coaching jobs in Minnesota and became the interim offense coordinator, then the offense coordinator, and now he's their head coach.
You know who coached him up? Gary Kubiak did.
Okay.
Because Kubiak was in Minnesota with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been in Minnesota since 2006. So
yeah,
Dang.
no, but that's what I'm saying. I think that makes a lot of sense for both sides. You guys got any last closing comments before we wrap this up?
Shout out to Kwame Brown, man. This man is going around taking no names. He's taking no prisoners, man. He's going to throats of everyone, man. I'm all for it. So we have been disrespecting Kwame Brown for the longest without him saying anything. So shout out to Kwame Brown.
All right, that's all we got for today. Thanks again for listening in. I have another one out here shortly. See you next time on the podcast.